have been getting squalls throughout the evening, and we just wrapped one up about maybe 5 minutes ago. We were getting torrential downpours, and we expect to see more of the same as we head through the nighttime hours. We also have been getting very strong winds, although they don't appear to be strengthening any. They've been fairly steady throughout the evening and afternoon hours for this location. And we're not seeing them increase, which may jive with more of an easterly flow to this hurricane. Let's go ahead and check out the palm tree, and we are continuing to see very strong winds. They've been gusting approximately to 50 miles an hour, but they have been staying at tropical storm force. This morning we were experiencing some hurricane force winds, but that does not seem to be the case tonight. And we're also continuing to watch the waves crash the shore, possibility of some beach erosion later on, and that is also getting just ever so much more closer to the hotels, and the owners here are watching that very closely. They're worried that some of the waves may actually end up coming into the hotels and could see a problem with some storm surge, and that is if the hurricane does actually make the landfall here. Even though we are not getting the hurricane force winds, in some locations the winds are extremely strong. We have a lot of high rises here on the beach, and in between it's a very small space, and so when the winds come blowing through, you have a funneling effect, and it is quite strong to walk in between some of the buildings, so we do have some problems there. Also problems continuing with flooding because we are getting the very heavy rainfall, and we still see some parking lots flooded out and also some ponding on the roadways, but no major reports of flooding, and so far no reports of roads that are impassable. Sharon?
Okay, Kim Dodd live from Gulf Shores, Alabama. Thank you very much. We'll be checking in with Kim a little bit later. Joining us live now is Stu Ostro, and you're going to tell us a little bit about, well, we saw the advisory, and we've seen maybe a little bit more of an eastward jog than a northern jog to this, but not much. It's still not moving very quickly.
Right, it still is wobbling around, generally in an east-northeast fashion, but again, given that steering currents are not very strong, they're not very well defined, this is one that we're just going to have to roll with the punches.
It's not an easy one to predict exactly where it wants to go next, that is for sure. If we can go to the other source real quick, we do have the very latest hurricane warnings, and I do want to note that these have been extended a little bit further eastward. They now extend into Apalachicola, Florida. And west of Gulfport, Mississippi, no longer any hurricane warnings in effect for you, but from Gulfport down out through the region where Kim Dodd was located and all along the coastal areas of the panhandle of Florida there, still watching out for the potential for some pretty stormy weather.
That's right. They have discontinued the warnings west of Gulfport, Mississippi, and extended them on East Apalachicola, which is consistent with the trend that we've been seeing in the motion during the course of the evening, which is, if anything, moving more east than more to the north.
Okay, which means it's generally running parallel to the coast. Not a good sign. Do you think that there is still a fact that this, or a chance that this might intensify?
Yeah, as long as the hurricane is out over the very warm water of the Gulf of Mexico, that is a possibility. The hurricane is very small. The inner core of the hurricane, which is where it's really getting its energy from off the warm water, is pretty much entirely over the water. The hurricane force winds have not extended on shore yet, and again, we would emphasize that while the weather is not all that bad along really any part of the coast right now, it is the very innermost portion of the hurricane where the worst weather is, and this is a small hurricane as hurricanes go. Okay,
let's show folks where the tropical storm force winds extend, and they are extending generally into extreme southern portions of Mississippi and Alabama, generally the coastal areas, and the hurricane force winds really have not been a factor today.
Right, outside of this morning as the hurricane crossed Louisiana right over in here, and we did see that brief burst of very strong winds. The hurricane force winds have been offshore and may have even tightened up a little bit during the course of the afternoon and evening. We'll be updating this graphic. The tropical storm force winds don't extend out terribly far either. Dauphin Island, which is right about in there, that easternmost dot right, we'll try to get it right there, has not had winds much in excess of 50, 55 miles per hour all evening.
We all enjoy the beauty and shade provided by trees. But did you know that a heavily shaded neighborhood can be 10 degrees cooler than a neighborhood without trees? Planting 2 to 3 shade trees on the southwestern and southeastern sides of your house can reduce air conditioning costs by 10 to 50%. Experts believe that there is room for 100 million more trees in America's cities and neighborhoods. Planting these trees could cut energy costs by $4 billion a year. Trees act as natural filters, cleaning and cooling the air. Their leaves absorb the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and return life-giving oxygen to the environment. Planting a tree every year can be a positive step toward energy conservation and cleaner air. And it's one you can take in your own backyard.
Weather information you need, whenever you need it. Direct to you by telephone. Call your source of weather information, the Weather Channel Connection.
The most intriguing and provocative political murder mystery of the year is about to be solved in your home. Philips Compact Disc Interactive presents an alluring tale of intrigue,
Looking for me?
deception, and passion. In an interactive thriller, Voyeur, you control all the action. As you make your choices, the story changes. You look into the private life of billionaire industrialist and presidential candidate Reed Hawk.
This may be the most dangerous game we've ever played.
A man who'll do anything to become president, and we mean anything.
I've had quite enough.
Voyeur, available only on CDI.
Philips CDI connects easily to your TV and plays hundreds of exciting titles for the entire family. Even with all of these features, you can own a Philips CDI for only $499. Call now for a free brochure and the location of your nearest retailer.
You're watching the Weather Channel. Accurate and dependable forecasts you can always turn to. And when you're away from your television, the Weather Channel forecast is also available from the following.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel.
What do you want for breakfast?
That's something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right is just what you want. An exciting blend of sensational tastes and textures, so you always get something different.
What do you want for breakfast?
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right. You just never get tired of it.
Everybody's talking about Sublingual B-Total, the perfect vitamin solution.
It's easy to take, it tastes good, and wow, does it make you feel good fast. You've read how B vitamins convert food into energy, but all vitamins are not created equal. B-Total is placed under your tongue for fast action.
It's easy, it's fast, and wow, does it make you feel good.
Do I use Sublingual B-Total? Absolutely. Shouldn't you?
Sublingual B-Total, available wherever vitamins are sold.
Good morning. It's 8:30 in Tampa, 7:30 in Kansas City, 5:30 for you in LA. You're watching your weather today. I'm Heather Tesh.
And I'm Marshall Seas. Los Angeles enjoying some nice weather for a change. Now by midday, you're going to see some showers in the southeast, perhaps the deep south too as a weak cold front passes through.
A couple of sprinkles too around for some of us in the mid-Atlantic this morning, and areas of fog, but gradual improvement.
Could bring some pollen wash to the southeast, get some of that yellow pollen off your car. That's hope of folks in Birmingham and Atlanta. Look for a shower in Minneapolis for the late commute. Right now it's nice though in southwest, nice and sunny today, warm conditions. The northeast, improving conditions for us, although we had to deal with some delays this morning at some of the hubs in the northeast. Here's Heather.
And we are finding that there are still delays for some of you that are going to be flying in and out of New York City, and that is due to the fog that's around. It is slowly lifting, but sometimes it takes a little while for the airplanes to catch up across this region. We're finding too some areas of rain kind of weaving around our frontal system here, and a lot of clouds just streaming into the area. So it's a gray morning for many of us. It's a soggy morning for some, and the visibility is going to be lowered for some of you too this morning due to the fog. We want to take a look first at some of the wet conditions. Now, as you can see, we have a little bit of what looks like rain here across Long Island into New York City, southeastern Pennsylvania. A lot of this is not reaching the ground. It is in a few places. It'll be very light sprinkles if you see some of it here. And it'll be a little more active here around Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, where we have some light rain working through. Traveling on 95, the Beltway this morning, you will find rain. Could slow you down a bit this morning. Traffic might be backed up somewhat. But as we move through the day, you'll find improvement. So it's going to be a little harder to get around this morning due to fog, due to rain. Later on today, the biggest problem you might have is a little bit of sun glare coming down at you with high pressure.
And welcome rain washes the pollen-drenched deep south. Light rain slips into the valleys of the northwest, and more rain's on tap for the flood-drenched upper Midwest. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Kelly Cass.
And I'm Bill Keneally. Thanks again for joining us. We have some wild weather curves coming out your way, Kelly, on this Friday the 13th.
Bad news there.
Triskaidekaphobia sufferers. It's not a good-looking day.
Say that again? 10 times fast?
I had to look it up and read it to myself 10 times slow. All right, Kelly. First up, though, we do have some problems out there, namely a real variety to the weather map here. We've had incredible warm air of late over portions of the Ohio Valley, the Middle Atlantic area, and even the Southland. But we're going to do the old seesaw here. I think they call that the fulcrum, right in the middle where the teetering occurs. And with that in mind, we're going to cool it down. And not only is the seesaw pointed that way, but the upper flow is as well. So the cooling process will begin, especially in earnest, we think, Monday into Tuesday for the Atlanta metro. Typically highs around the low 70s. We'll be looking at highs at best, I'd say, in the low 60s, and maybe, that's not a typo, maybe 30s in the Motor City with cloud cover and a risk of maybe a snow shower. On the flip side, though, we heated up in a big fashion in the southwest after a long, relatively damp and cool pattern. Phoenix recovering quite nicely. To show you what's happening now on the map in the southeast, roughly from Macon down the fall line to Valdosta and down through Florida, we're in good shape today. Already a surge of moisture coming back here in Texas, and that'll be a precursor of a rainier afternoon, possibly for the Dallas area. We'll talk about that more in the forecast. And again, as we close out or tighten up this shot, we have our clouds over Alabama and Georgia, and there's a band of rain, very welcome rain at that. Some areas in northwest Alabama and northeastern Mississippi, better than 2 inches of rain over the last 24 hours. It will not be near that rainy, unfortunately. I'd say for Birmingham and Anniston and maybe Atlanta, no more than about a quarter inch as we see it now. What we have for you is a wavering front sagging its way southward. So we're watching the rain, and then behind it a shift in the wind and cooler air. So it's barely 60 in the Tennessee Valley while it's sitting in the 80s. As you get south of the Atlanta metro, it's warm, it's hazy, and very pollinated is the air. So any rain we can muster will be welcome. Again, here's a radar scope showing some rain.
Strong winds in Detroit caused the damage to the Detroit Lions playing facility. Are you at risk for damaging weather this holiday weekend? We'll let you know.
We'll also look at the entire country to see how Saturday is shaping up. Stay tuned for this edition of Weather Center. Good evening and welcome. I'm Lisa Moser.
And I'm Kim Perez. Thank you for joining us on this Good Friday. And what a good weather conditions many of you do have this evening. I can't read. What great weather conditions a lot of you have tonight. We want to start though with the south, because of your potential for some rain and thunderstorms out there. And there is an area that we're watching for the potential of maybe some strong to severe storms here tonight in parts of Texas. Here's our front. It's rolling through very slowly. I mean, it's not making much progress at all. And we'll talk about why in just a minute. But out ahead of it, we have a few showers that have developed here. And in some areas, actually ahead of our front, some areas have picked up over 2 inches. Tupelo, Mississippi picked up over 2. Chattanooga picked up over 1 inch. So a lot of us got some beneficial rain from this. I mean, the greatest thing about this front bringing the rain is the fact that we dropped our pollen count across the southeast with this rain. So that definitely is some good news. And we need the rainfall as well. But it looks like it's kind of lost some of its steam. We're not seeing as much rainfall as we did earlier with this front. Now we are watching the potential later on as our winds become more southeasterly to push this front a little bit farther north. And we could see later on tonight the potential for some severe weather here in northern Texas, where right now we have a lot of high clouds. We have our jet cutting right across the region, and with that southwest flow aloft, that's one reason why we're not seeing our front making much progress. You need more of a northwesterly flow to drive that front southward, so it's really having a hard time pushing onto the south. The rain, though, it's out of the Atlanta area, and we did pick up some rain earlier today, and a lot of you pollen sufferers, allergy sufferers, actually benefiting from this rain today. The forecast for tomorrow, will we see more rain? Doesn't look like it. We'll see temperatures on Saturday in the 70s, maybe low 80s. So yes, a gorgeous day for the Easter egg hunts. It looks like in the morning it should be nice, and towards the evening nice as well if you're heading off to services. Looking good. How much rainfall this evening? Well, we're going to pick up 1/10 of an inch up to a 1/2 inch. That's it. Not a lot. We'll see some, though, here from Macon on southward. Probably Atlanta out of it. The front is about through here, and so that's about it. Here in Texas, though, we're watching out for some severe weather. We have our jet stream coming right across the region. Here's our threat later tonight, and it looks like it does include Dallas-Fort Worth here late this evening, where right now temperatures out there 77 degrees and dew points, well, 66. So a lot of the ingredients out there, it's there. So watch out this evening. We'll keep you up to date on this. Lisa?
Okay, Kimmy, keep us updated on that. You should have a nice day to the northeast on your Saturday. Let's take a look. We are not as bad off as we were earlier today in many areas of the northeast. We had this frontal boundary to push through, and even once we got past the front, or the front past us, we still had quite a bit of cloud cover and precip behind the front, but that's beginning to break apart. With the exception of the New England area, because we get that residual moisture behind the low, and we continue to see some very light rain. A lot of this is actually virga, not reaching the ground, but occasionally Burlington, Vermont, Caribou, Maine, you could see a very light and infrequent precip come down momentarily here and there. Okay? Look for that. Overnight tonight, more of the cloud cover across Massachusetts should be breaking apart. We're anticipating very clear skies, very sunny tomorrow across the Boston area, but it will continue to be breezy because we are looking at a gradient wind, and the winds occasionally gusting as high as 40 miles per hour across parts of the northeast. That's not real good if you're trying to do some marine activity. Maybe it's a sailboat, then that might not be a problem. Remember this? The Perfect Storm, that movie? Well, we were looking at the Lady Grace from the docking in the Boston Harbor today, better known for her role in The Perfect Storm. Lady Grace docked at Boston's Aquarium to kick off a week-long display. Now, tomorrow's weather, again, will be very nice to enjoy a day out, doing a little sightseeing here. Temperatures will be in the 60s. It will be sunny, but again, we are looking at some very breezy conditions. Maybe not quite as strong as the gusts were today, but it will continue to be windy. A little further to the south across Long Island, we're looking at mostly clear skies here. Temperatures are still warm at this hour. 72 at JFK, 72 in Central Park. We are continuing to see some problems with flight delays. About an hour or two ago, we were looking at a delay in the New York area. Still seeing Boston with this 80-minute delay, so call your carrier ahead of time. These are the current temperatures across the southeast. Notice it's much cooler where we don't get that down-sloping wind. Buffalo, 47 degrees at this hour, but even though the front has pushed through Boston, New York, we are looking at a mild evening. 61 in Boston, 72 in New York, 72 in Philadelphia. In Chicago at this hour, it's 54 degrees. Now, Chicago, the cloud cover will be increasing overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, we're going to see a brief period of rain. These rain showers should be light to moderate. You can see that it is bringing some rain out towards the eastern areas of Iowa for tonight. That's not real good news, but the flooding that we are anticipating here as we go through this week, probably not really going to be influenced very much by this light rain, but we've had so much moisture to come through the upper Mississippi River area that we're likely to see some record flooding, and we'll continue to keep you updated not only this weekend, but through this week as we will wait for the Mississippi to crest. Not anytime soon, at least maybe not for another 2 weeks. Your forecast for tomorrow, Chicago again tomorrow morning, cloudy with a chance of seeing some rain early in the day. 63 your afternoon high temperature. Details to the west now, Kim?
Well, Lisa, the west is mostly dry except for some scattered precipitation that's falling in the northern Rockies. Now that rain will slowly push eastward and heading out in the plains probably tomorrow sometime, just like this one we just had come through. And as you can see, most again of the clouds and the rain off to the north. Beautiful day here in Phoenix, San Diego, great day. Maybe to get out and work a little bit early, head to the zoo. Tomorrow it looks good, it looks nice too tomorrow. But here across the Pacific Northwest, still a little unsettled. It will get better. If you're tired of the clouds and tired of the rain because of the pattern we have been in, hang in there for a couple more days. Our weekly planner will talk about how the pattern will be shifting, and you guys will be basking in the sunshine and getting temperatures back to where you should be, and actually maybe even above average temperatures. But right now, you have to deal with the clouds and the few showers out there. Snow showers in the higher elevations will pick up 1 to 3 inches out there. Currently, 52 in Salt Lake City. And actually, we had some snow here in Salt Lake City a couple days ago, and actually that was good news. And let's show you why here. Some really cute video here. Snow and cool conditions were just right for the coming out of Salt Lake City's new star attraction. Spectators at the Hoggle Zoo in Salt Lake City got the chance to see this polar bear cub explore its surroundings for the very first time. She'll want to stay close to Mom tonight, though, as temperatures will drop in the 30s. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of rain and temperatures into the 50s. There you go. And 53 is our forecast high for you. 87 in Phoenix, a warm day. Look at Los Angeles, 71 degrees. We're beginning to warm up. So that's it for the West. Now let's head back to Lisa.
Well, if you need some ideas about where to spend your holiday weekend, Kim, why not chill in the snow and in the cool? Just lose those frustrations. Forget about that lousy husband and that boyfriend, okay? The RSN Outdoor Update will give you the latest ski conditions.
We slide in today at the top of the Rockies from the summit of Copper Mountain. Hi, I'm Matt Skinner with the RSN Outdoor Update. At 12,363 feet, it's no surprise they call the lift at the top here the Storm King. It's lived up to its name this week, as 25 inches of snow has fallen in the past 72 hours. Along with spring skiing comes spring festivities. This weekend, the Kahlua Halfpipe Jam features RSN's own Glenn Plate giving a clinic to all comers. Copper winds up the season next weekend, mixing a little winter with summer with their infamous on-snow bikini contest.